Husker Nation. Welcome back to the Scarlet and the Cream Husker podcast. You got me, the host, Mr. B. We got Super Frankie B here with us. And of course, as always this season, former Husker wide receiver Kenny Cheatham. Guys, we're talking about the Fordham game. Big win, 52-7. Huskers did exactly what they needed to do. Offense was shaky the first couple series. Kind of gave you that feel of like, oh, shit, here we go again. And all of a sudden, we'll get to the blocked field goal, which was obviously a turning point in the game. But it seemed to have sparked the offense, and we got to see what a Scott Frost offense at Nebraska can finally do if they're hitting on all cylinders. So, Kenny, what did you see from the offense after the shaky start?
Less turnovers, of course. That's the major thing. Of course, we had that fumble early in the game, and thank God it didn't set the tone for the game. But
all right,
you still sat back and said, "Oh, gosh, that was quick. That was early." Then we converted on the 3rd and 18. I just saw them being a little bit more aggressive. I saw the offensive line doing a little bit more up front. Running back wise, I thought Stepp did a good job, but there are some holes he missed. He didn't run as aggressively as I thought he could have. Downhill, one cut go. There were several runs that I saw him looking for the contact rather than making the man miss. So when Morrison came in, you saw him hitting the hole a lot more harder. But it was good to see the offensive going. But this is the type of game that you're supposed to get everything clicking, which we talked about last week. And when I said, by the end of the game, they should be pulling the guys out of the stands and some of the student section and come out there to play. Because, it should be so out of hand that it should make a difference. But they did well. So we got to improve because Buffalo is serious. So, it's going to be a game.
What did you see, Frank? Where were the improvements on offense? I mean, like we said, of course, it's always going to come back to it's Fordham. I get it. But we saw some improvements, especially in the offensive line. Where were the improvements that you really saw in the game against Fordham?
Yeah, as you stated, B, we get to see what a Scott Frost offense can look like. We ran about, I think, 95 plays. And so it's just one of those things where you just kept jabbing, and you kept jabbing. And that's just one thing under the Frost system. And you guys saw that against UCLA and LSU today. As the game progresses, and we run more plays, the defense starts to wear down. And then, like we talked about last week, those 2-yard runs turn to 4, and then 4 turns into 8 and 12. And then all of a sudden you score 52 points. I believe this was the biggest margin of victory for Scott Frost, 52-7.
It's got to be. I mean, let's think about it, guys. When was the last time we saw a score 52 points and hold the opposing team to less than 30?
Been a while.
So, hey, man, I'll tell you what. I'm glad I was very critical on my prediction this last week because they completely exceeded what I was hoping to see. And Kenny, you ended up being damn near spot on. Kenny,
45-10. I said yes. 45-10.
Yeah. I text Kenny about midway through the fourth quarter. I said, if there's some way that they get a field goal and we somehow, some way do not score the rest of the game, you're fucking spot on, dude. You called it. And Frank, your prediction wasn't far off either. You said 45-3.
Yeah.
My God. So can we truly get overly excited for improvements we saw due to the fact of our caliber of opponent? Can we really get overly excited?
No, I think what you can get is optimistic about the growth that this game allowed the team to have and the confidence that it put in them to build going into next week against the University of Buffalo. You can't really say, oh, we beat this great team. I mean, like I said, they were going to be a little undermatched. Yeah. This is the game, as I stated last week, that you work on the things. You put everything in play. You go all out. And it keeps going builds momentum through the season. So there's still a lot of things to work on. Every week, there's always something to work on. But like I said, the offensive line looked better. I thought they could have been more aggressive. And attacked more on the run plays to open up the holes even more. It's just like it appeared to me, in my opinion, they were only making enough contact in the trenches to get the holes there, but they weren't just attacking to where they could have overpowered that team. Sometimes as a player when you're physically outmatched. It's just like the Ohio State game a couple years ago when they came to Lincoln.
Ugh.
And you saw that defensive front with Chase Young, and you said,
Oh, we're in trouble.
This is you know. So as an offensive line player, a skill position player, when you overmatch someone. And I just thought on that aspect, they could have been a little bit more aggressive. Now the passing game was okay with Martinez. He had a better day, missed a couple throws, but if you look at the film, there were some times he could have even stepped up in the pocket to get some of the passes off instead of standing back on his 8-yard drops, 5-yard drops, etc. He could have actually stepped up in the pocket and zipped the balls in there. So I think they did well.
I got to admit, I was critical on Martinez last week. I even tweeted it out on the Scarlet and Cream page. I said it's time to move on from Martinez. And look, I'll be honest, he silenced some critics for at least this week, and he silenced me. He royally impressed me with his accuracy. I was genuinely surprised. The decision making to take off when he needed to, like you said though, Kenny, there were a few times he could have stepped up in the pocket instead. But I mean, all in all, that might be the best game I've seen Martinez play since his freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think Buffalo was playing a lot of cover too, because they want to keep a lot of players in the boxes. They knew we were going to run the ball quite a bit. And it was nice to see Martinez actually hit some of those seam routes. And he also was able to lob the ball over in between the safety and the corner. I mean, there was a pretty substantial wide gap between the two, but that pass to Omar Manning, that was classic cover 2 right there. So no, it was good to see him get over the ball. That's one of the things that he struggles with, is trying to get the ball in between two defenders.
The play that really impressed me with him was when he pump faked the corner blitz. The corner left his feet. He sidesteps him. I swore he was going to get sacked. I was like, take off and run. And he sidesteps and gives him a home sidearm right down the middle for a first down. I mean, to me, that was his highlight play of the day.
I mean, sorry, Kate.
No, go ahead, Frank. No, go ahead.
That first touchdown where Austin Allen missed both of his blocks and he was able to get through that. I mean, if he doesn't get to that ankle tackle right there, then all of a sudden that 4th down play, who knows how the game looks for the rest of the game. But however, he got through the tackle, scored the touchdown. We're up 7-0. So I don't know. Maybe that was my signature play of the game. And then of course, did you get his second running touchdown? Did you guys see that where he looked right and then he went left and ran for the touchdown? Can remind me that Vince Young game-winning touchdown against USC in the national championship
holding
game.
The ball out to get it over the goal line there. Oh yeah. Hey, you know what? And like I said, there's an improvement right there. Vision and knowing what you're doing, seeing everything's closed down and the whole defense flowing to one side. You've got an entire side of the field open and only 10 yards to go. Get your ass in.
Yeah, Martinez played well. I mean, like you said, Brian, I hadn't seen personally a game like that, in my opinion, since his freshman year, where you said, okay, when he's a really good quarterback, when he doesn't make those turnovers, the costly fumbles, the bad passes in masses, as far as missing them, the fumbles, the bad sacks where you say he could have stepped up, or you could say he should have ran for it. But then you have to put that back on the receivers. Why aren't you open? That's causing that pocket to collapse and for him to always have to step up. So, I mean, as far as the way he played, I thought he played very well. The passes, there were one, like even the one to Manning on the right sideline, the Nebraska sideline, I thought that could have been zipped in rather than tossed up because he had to slow down, which caused the safety to come over to be able to be in position to tackle him. If that's beamed in there, that's a catch and run. That's boom. And I'm already running the speed. So, I mean, little stuff like that, I think they'll point out in film and say, hey, with this part, if you just had zipped it in there, he catches it and he goes, because he was wide open. He was literally wide open. He had to turn around and catch the ball. So if that one's beamed in there, the pass I thought earlier, I think it was Toure, or was it Manning in the end zone, in the south side of the end zone, was a little overthrown.
Right.
I thought if that was beamed, a beam pass toward the back pylon, defensive back would have had to go through him to get it. So now you're looking at either a PI or a catch for a touchdown. So, little stuff like that, I think things they'll point out in the film session.
Yeah, it was great turnout by the offense, honestly, putting up 52 points. And let's turn our attention to right here, the black shirts, guys. Once again, I'll say it. It was Fordham, yes. And what sucks about saying that is they were able to move the ball a little bit. It almost seemed like Fordham really couldn't get out of their own way almost.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the defense did their job, allowed only one touchdown in the first quarter, or I believe it might have been the second quarter. But from then on, it was lights out. They bend, they don't break. But there were some big plays Fordham made. Is that something we should be concerned about? What do you think, Frank?
Well, the game kind of reminded me of the Northern Illinois game? Was that 2000, where there were plays to be made, but Northern Illinois overthrew the football. And there was times where Tim Demerat, if he was a little bit more accurate, I think Fordham scores about 21 points against us because he missed a couple touchdown passes.
Yeah.
But as just like Adrian Martinez, he misses open wide receivers too. So, Demerat, he's only so much, he's only got so much talent. So, but I believe that the Black Shirts gave up about 200 yards in the first half. We're only 70 in the second half. And this is what we talked about last week, Kenny. Hey, I think they made adjustments. Mm-hmm. And that's why our defense looked it looked a lot better there towards the end of the football game. You look at it, there were some big runs.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? That Wilson guy had like a 30-yard run, and then they had another guy, Davis, that had a 22-yard run. If you take those two runs away, the 50 yards, then they only have 25 carries, 26 carries for 70 yards.
Not bad.
So those were good, but we gave up two big plays. So that's something that we definitely don't want to do against like Wisconsin or something like that.
Oh God, no.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you see, Kenny? Is it the caliber of opponent the reason they were able to lock it down and just shut them out the rest of the game, or was it something where, like Frank said, with adjustments come out and almost like a new game plan, and they don't know how to adjust against us?
I thought it was just a little bit more of adjustments and a little switch up of the game plan because we all saw with the first quarter, the first half. I was saying, why are the receivers constantly open and getting inside of the defensive backs to where the middle of the field was open? The one touchdown play, the guy was wide open in the middle of the field. The little receiver, little 82, he caught it. He pretty much walked in. But
Coco
my thing was, I wanted the defensive backs to get a little bit more aggressive at the line, press them, force them to have to make those tight throws. And, the linebackers, the drags and all those things just kept opening up. And then the run, when they got the big runs, he said, oh, here we go again. But once they made the adjustments, they cut off the middle of the field. We had the two picks by Williams, the one by Dolman on the tip ball. That was a little too hard to the receiver that he caught early on. But I think the game changed the dynamic once they shut the middle of the field off. But I wanted the D-line personally to be more aggressive and get at the quarterback more. I thought we got a good push, but not aggressive enough push to where we can make him really uncomfortable. And like Frank said, Fordham shot themselves in the foot a bunch of times on some things that could have been some touchdowns and really big plays. But I saw a little regression from the defensive line as far as the pressure they got in regards to that. But, the defense made the adjustments, I thought. And I think they'll have to make some adjustments next week, coming into this Buffalo game.
Yeah, I believe on the Davis run that went for 20 yards, Ben Stilley got pushed out of the way. If he plays his gap, that's a no-gainer.
Yeah. It was, there were names, you didn't hear called yesterday. Like, I don't believe I even heard Garrett Nelson's name called. Jojo Dolman, the guy flies all over the place. So, of course, you're going to hear his name. Now, in non-Husker talk, I've got to talk about Fordham's number 47 linebacker. Holy shit. Look, I'm going to tell you what. 30 plus tackles on his own.
Greenhagen.
This guy's, and he looks just built like a fucking fullback. The guy is massive. My
That's-
God, that's a kid I would pray
Yeah.
to have on my team.
Yeah, that guy was he was everywhere, man. That's what you call a football player. That was
Yes.
someone who's probably had that motor his entire career, high school, and of course college, but was overlooked because of his size
Yep.
and things of that nature. He reminds me of a smaller but the motor of a young Zach Thomas.
Damn.
The guy was
Yeah,
everywhere, man. He was just the
God.
one hit on the sideline that
Dude.
people thought was dirty. No, it was clean. He just
Yeah.
blew him up. He just blew him up on the sideline. So I mean, salute to him, man. Salute to
Ooh.
him.
Amazing player. I had to bring him up.
Yeah,
Real
absolutely.
quick, special teams. I mean, outside of Cam Taylor
Much
Britt's
better.
fumble yesterday, which that was a tough
Dude,
ball.
he
That
got
thing
pissed.
He got knuckled at the end, and then
Yeah.
barely hit his
Yep, just
helmet.
right off the top of the dome there.
So I really can't blame the guy. Was it Brandon Frankie? And he had like he kept kicking in the end zone. I mean, thank God. I mean, we've been calling this for a couple seasons now,
Yeah.
and thank goodness. So I'm glad our special teams looked pretty decent yesterday. Not look decent. They did Connor Culp with a 39-yard field goal. That thing was straight down the
Yeah.
middle. So
Colt
yeah, after
looked
missing,
good.
It shocked me.
Taylor Britt, somebody must have been on his ass about that after that.
Well, what did
botched
Frost
punt.
say to him?
I don't
Like,
know.
is it-
Whatever it was not a good exchange between the both of them. Britt was pissed. I could read his lips. He had his helmet up, and right before he slammed it down, he said, "Don't fucking talk to me." And he slammed his
Right.
helmet down. I was like,
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
And then when I saw that, I was sitting there saying, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Exactly.
You have no one to blame but yourself. I mean, when the ball bounced and I knew it wasn't going to him and I saw it was getting ready to take a roll, what went in my head was, get the F out of the way.
Get the
What are
hell
you
out of
even
there.
trying to do that for? There was no reason. There's certain plays in football that are just idiotic and stupid. I'm not calling him that, but certain plays you just know not to do. I've never understood when someone does a punt, and the offensive player that's fielding the punt stands around there near the ball when the defensive player is over there like they're going to touch it and then try to pick it up with a couple people around. Just idiotic.
Very.
Something like that. You just move out of the way. It's going to be what it's going to be. If you can't get it on the first bounce and it's a decent bounce, it's like baseball. If you're building something, if you don't get it quick, it gets that bounce, you're going to have problems, especially in the lower levels.
Oh, yeah.
Professional, they're going to get that. But
Yeah.
once it went and you saw you couldn't run underneath it, you should be looking at the trajectory of the ball and how it's turning.
Yes.
It's going to tell you how the bounce is going to happen. So the moment he saw it, just get out of the way. It's either going to go out of bounds and go back. You've done your job. You yell, Peter, for the rest of the players to get away from it because you don't know which way it's going to bounce, but you get out of the way. To try to feel that, it's like feeling a bullet coming at you. It hit him.
Exactly.
Now
what it was.
he turns around looking for it. They get it. And now he's mad because he's being coached on the sideline.
Yeah,
It's silly. That's silly.
He catches shit for it, and you can't get mad because, like you said,
Now
it's
I'm
your
in
own
my feelings
fault.
because I made the mistake.
Yeah.
If someone said, Kenny, you fumbled that ball. Yeah, I did.
Yep.
I can't get mad because you telling me that I fumbled the ball. Protect the ball. Okay, you're right. You did it. So I read that. I saw that. I said, oh, yeah, he's acting a little ass over there. And he did it himself. I mean, but I expect him to do that because you know why? They built him up to be this this time. He's this and that. Now he's in a position where, he's heard it.
Yeah.
Trust me, he's heard it. That, they talking to me like that. Trust me, it's in his head. It's in his head that, talking to me like that. I'm Cam Taylor Brett. I'll watch this stuff, see the stuff, and see who they put out there. Some of these guys believe that. They believe that person, they're untouchable. So, yeah, his feelings was hurt, but he did it.
Yeah. I mean, he moved on. He obviously, got his cool. He finished the game on defense. Obviously, he's not back there returning punts now. We have Brody Belt back there, which even Brody had an issue on the very first one. Kind of bobbled it going out of bounds. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you guys? Come on.
I was wondering where Martin was at, but I guess he was banged up for this game, number 89. So.
Oh, shit. That's all right, though. That's all right.
Yep.
We'll get somebody back there that really knows what the hell they're doing. And like you said, Kenny, as long as you play this game, you start to realize trajectory of the ball, the way the ball spins, the way the ball turns. You can calculate how that's going to skip off the ground if you let it go. You should be able to calculate how far back you need to get, or if you just need to get the hell away from it.
Right.
We'll get it. I promise. We'll get it. And hey, while we're on special teams, got to talk about the blocked field goal, guys. Complete
Markel
turnaround for the game.
Dismuke, after he missed the tackle, man,
Yeah.
and led for the touchdown, I broke the straw. He broke the camel's back, man. With that was great, because that was the play of the game. He blocked the field goal. Instead of it being 10-10, we get the ball, we drive down the field, Savion Morrison, touchdown, 17-7. So different than being 10-10. These are the plays that we're going to have to take when we play against Oklahoma and the rest of our schedule once we start getting into it.
Yeah.
I watched so much football yesterday.
Oh, it was nice.
You look at the Iowa game yesterday. They drive down the field, 7-0. Oh, and then all of a sudden, pick 7, 14-0. Game was done.
Oh, yeah.
The game was done.
Indiana.
And right there, we scored that touchdown, 17-7. The game was done.
Yeah. Yeah, it broke Fordham's whole game plan, I think, once that happened. It was about to be 10-10, and that could completely boost a team's confidence and carry them the rest of the game. And I think what that did was just completely broke their spirit. And if you look at our drives yesterday, guys, all of them were on our side of the field. These weren't just 30, 40-yard drives that we're getting great starting field position. We're starting at our own 25, our own 20, our own 30, and we're putting together drives. I haven't seen us score 4 or 5 straight series in fucking forever. I could not believe the scoring drives. It was impressive. It really was, but it was fun.
But that's what can happen when you don't have turnovers.
Exactly. And the penalties.
You can have those drives and the penalties.
One penalty.
Even the announcer says something. Oh, there hasn't been any penalties called in this game. They said it on the television. So,
dude, the first penalty, the ref had to throw a white flag. Yeah. He didn't even have a yellow flag.
Yeah. So, it was good to see those drives and the length of time that they took for them to get down there and score. Once they got into that rhythm, it was good to see. And how about Toure, however you pronounce it, he had himself a day.
I think we found our receiver, guys.
I think with him, Manning, Martin, and I think what we need is that one shifty player in the slot. But I don't know how the offense is set up to have that slot person. That's the quick. You need that jitterbug in there for that quick little hits. But he had himself a day. Ooh, I would have loved to have that many passes on me. Please. It would have been a slaughter out there.
Yeah, poor Kenny's playing here when, receivers 90% of the time are blocking.
Yeah, we're running hitches. We didn't even have a speed out in the offense. I'm like, what kind of offense is this? We don't even have a speed out. Everything's a hitch and everything's to the wingbacks and tight ends. They had all the hot reads, and that's why they got a lot of the quick slants and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm out here just running dummy routes. But yeah, man, he had he had a great game, and it was good to see.
Yeah, I believe we had 8 receivers catch balls yesterday.
Wow.
We already talked about Samori Toure. We talked about that last week, that we need to get him going. Yeah. It was great to see us the option with him. He scored a touchdown on those option plays. That's just awesome. Yeah, and then we saw Austin Allen catch passes. I know those were little swing passes that Kenny loves so much.
But he looked good on those first ones in those first couple series. He looked well. He looked good on.
And Austin Allen, man, I'll tell you what a beast that kid is, man.
It's a big kid, man.
Good God, what is he? 6'7", Frank?
He's something.
Yeah, 6'8".
God, that's a huge target. I just don't understand why you don't look for him more often. But man,
he's in the red zone.
Yes.
If he has, let's say, just the 25-inch vertical, you literally could just throw the ball 12 feet high and he should be able to catch it. I mean, there's no reason that we're not throwing down the field to him. I mean, you figure with his wingspan and everything, arms up, I'm pretty sure him standing there, he can almost touch the rim.
Oh yeah, I bet it wouldn't even be hard for him. God, I wonder what that feels like. I really do. It's something I'm never gonna know, guys.
Yeah, when I was much younger, in my early 20s, I went to a Houston Rockets game, and I got to see Charles Barkley play. Literally, he was 6'6". The guy could literally stand on his tippy toes and dunk the basketball. I mean, that's how long.
Yep.
Yeah.
You realize I got to jump with everything I got to probably just touch the net.
I have to do that. I have to do that now. I told somebody the other day, they were like, "Ken, you want to play in this basketball league?" I said, "No, I'll be like Sean Kemp after the lockout in 1999 when he was all overweight." I said, "I have 2 abs left. The other four are minding their business. They'll come back to me soon." But, hey, back in the days, I can do my thing, man. I can do my thing. But,
hey, Father Time's catching up with all of us, guys. I mean, it's no joke. We're all getting older, but we get to watch. I hate to call them kids, but they are kids. We get to watch these kids as we've gotten older, playing this game that we all love so damn much, and this team that we love so damn much. I mean, I still look at some of these players like they're older than me, even though I know they're not. Christ, they're huge. I mean, players nowadays, it's getting ridiculous. I mean, these guys are like genetically bred. It's scary.
Yeah, it's until you see them and you see their faces, that's when you realize, that's still a kid. I mean, we know that being that they're college age. What was funny is when I was at Nebraska, my parents came to every game, and they were there one time. All the guys were over at the house, and she was talking to Tommy and Tony Veland, and she was like, I see you guys on TV and on the field, and you look big. And she said, then when I see you guys in person, I see that you're all her babies. You know what I mean? She said, you all her babies. She said, you're the age of my older son.
Yeah.
And I was 18 and 19, so I was right there. But she was like, you guys are the age of my Kenny's older brother. You're your baby. She said, to see your faces and then how people talk about you guys, like they expect all of this. They forget you guys are kids. They forget you guys are young men. And, that puts it in perspective when I see you guys' faces in person. Because she was like, you guys are babies. It was funny. They just started laughing because, it's true. We have to understand little kids, young men are going to make some mistakes out there. So.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we're down to about our last minute and a half. Old Zoom only allows you to go so long with more than 2 people. So I guess we pretty much said all we needed to say. I mean, we saw exactly what we needed to see out of the Huskers. They took care of business the way they were supposed to. So I guess at this point, we just kind of look forward to next week against Buffalo now, which we'll cover here soon. So
yeah, real quick thoughts with Illinois losing to the Roadrunners. I mean, that's what happens when you throw the kitchen sink at us. Well, guess what? The next team was really prepared.
Yep. Screw Illinois. Screw B Illinois. All right, guys. Well, we'll close this one out. For myself, Mr. B, for Super Frankie B, and of course, Mr. KC, Kenny C. Guys, thank you for joining us on the Scarlet and the Cream Husker podcast. Hope you enjoyed the game against Fordham. I know we did. So, Frankie, go ahead and take us out with your signature sign-off, my friend.
All right, find us at the Scarlet Cream, and always go Big Red. And we'll always stir a corner.